Hey y'all. Okay, so we have to have a little chat. So I have just looked at the quiz grades from Tuesday. And I will say that some of you finished very quickly. And I want you to see what I can see as the teacher. So we're not going to call anybody out. This is just a student's test grade. You can see that they finished this question in 86 seconds. This one in 3.3 seconds. This one in 5 seconds, 5.9 seconds, 6.3 seconds, 9.6 seconds, 4.7 seconds, 6.5 seconds, 3.4 seconds, and then the one that is simply just choosing A, it took them 455 seconds. So, what do you think that means? I want you to know that there were a lot that looked very similar to that. So, I let you use your notes. I let you take that quiz in class without me. And y'all definitely just broke my trust. So that quiz is not going to go in the grade book. I am not going to reward you for cheating. I would say 90% of my students got everything correct but number 6. So, and then the people that, took it truthfully and failed the test, there's no way I can give them a failing grade when they actually tried and gave it their best effort and were an honest person. So that's what I've decided to do. I will be returning on Monday, and you will take a quiz on Monday in class, and that's just what we're going to do from here on out, because that's not acceptable, and I am truly disappointed that that is the level of care that you're giving your education. So not only is it disappointing to me just as a human being, because I look into your eyes when I'm in class and I believe in you and I trust you and I put forth my best effort to help you learn. So it's very disappointing to me that you took 3.3 seconds to do a math question. So, moving on to today's lesson, I hope that I get some apology notes from people because, I see your name beside that. You know who you are that finished that in if it didn't take you 30 minutes, then I have a question. So, anyways, moving on. I'm going to just move on because I'm so upset with you. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So, let's move on to check last night's homework. All right. So, last night's homework is here. Let me zoom in. Okay. This is just for you to check your homework. If you have any questions about these, you're more than welcome to email me and I will chat with you about them and explain them. You can press pause if I'm going too quickly. Alright, so that was your homework check. Okay, now your substitute hopefully has given you today's packet. If not, ask for that. If you are a virtual learner, then you can either print yours out at home or use Cami, but you must show all of your work. What we're going to do today is a bit different. I'm going to work part of the problems and then you're going to work part of the problems. So it's going to be like an I do, you do type setting. So that's what we're doing. What we're doing today is properties of parallelograms. So we all have heard of parallelograms, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk about their properties and things that you can take to the bank. These are going to be truths about parallelograms always. So number one, opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are parallel. Number two, opposite sides are congruent. Okay. See if I can make that a little bit darker. I think that's better. Number three, opposite angles are congruent. And consecutive angles, which means like same side, consecutive angles are supplementary. Which, what does supplementary mean? They have a sum of 180. A sum of 180. And number five, diagonals bisect each other. Should not be plural. Diagonals bisect each other, which means that they cut each other in half. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do some I do, you do. So I am going to do number one. Now, when I say I am going to do it, I really mean we are going to do it, because when you turn in your notes, everything should be done. No blanks. And I will tell you that, like, I'm looking at y'all's homework, and if you see your grades go in and they're not like a 40 on a 40, it's because I'm taking points from y'all for not finishing your assignments, for submitting blurry pictures. Like, if I can't read your work, I'm not giving you credit for that. Also, some people have sent me like screenshots of a tablet, like with the device and the picture on the device, and it really looks like my work. I'm not giving you credit for that. Okay? Or it also could be someone else's. So I need you guys to do your work. I need you to write your names on your pages. I know that it's December and everybody is ready for the holiday break, but it's not time yet. So y'all need to step it up, do a better job, make sure I get your stuff, make sure your name's on it. I want to be able to give you full credit, but I'm not going to give you full credit just because. Okay? All right, so here we go. If we look at example number one, they gave us this 68 degrees. Okay, so we know that. They gave us 15 as our side AB, and then a side BC. They give us 8. It tells us that each of the quadrilaterals below is a parallelogram. So there's no question about it. It is a parallelogram. So now we are just going to complete the missing pieces. So AD is here on this side. It is going to be congruent to its opposite side. So AD is going to be 8. DC is going to be congruent to its opposite side, which is 15. Okay, so you're just looking for the opposite side. Angle A is consecutive with D, which means consecutive angles are supplementary. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 180 and I'm going to subtract out 68. That gives me 112. So 112 degrees is A. Angle B is the opposite angle of D. Opposite angles are congruent. So that means this one is going to be 68. Angle C is opposite A, so it's going to be 112. Just that easy. What should all these angles add up to be? 360. Okay, quadrilaterals have a total interior angle degrees of 360 degrees. So I did one, you do two. You can either pause it and do it now, or you can do all of yours at the end of the lesson, whatever you want to do. Okay, number 3. If you look at number 3, they gave us 18, 27. This 7 is UV right there, so it's that piece. So they want UT. UT, oh, down here, I didn't even notice this one. They told us that this over here is 30. RT is 30. Okay? All right, so if we look at this right here, UT is going to be opposite RS. So these two are congruent, so it's going to be 27. ST is opposite RU, so it's going to be 18. VS is this little segment here. Remember that it says diagonals bisect each other. So if this piece is 7, so is this piece. That piece is also 7. And then VT over here is half of RT. RT is 30, so since VT is half of that, it's going to be 15. Okay? Now you're doing number 4. On number 4, they're giving you the angle, half of the angle. Remember that these bisectors are cutting those angles, or those diagonals are cutting those angles in half. So if this side is 71, this side is 71. If this is 21, this is 21. Okay, so that should help you over here. Now, I'm doing number 5. On number 5, actually, let's flip it. No, that's fine. I'll do number 5. XY right here is 15. WX is 22. XZ, so that's the diagonal, is 52. WT, that's half of that one, is 23. So I can put a little 23 here. Angle WZY. So T. I'm sorry. No. WZY. WZY, the whole thing right here is 72 degrees. And then WXT, that's this little portion here, is 35. And then ZWT. ZWT is this little piece here, which is 59. Okay, so now we need to find all of our missing pieces. I'm sorry, it's such bad lighting in here, y'all. I don't really know what else I can do to help y'all see. Okay, so if we look at this first one, ZW. ZW is this side. It's the outside of the parallelogram. It's opposite to 15, so that means it is also 15. Then we have YZ. That's down here. That's opposite this side, so it's 22. TX. T is in the middle. X is on the edge. So it's going to be half of ZX, which they told us ZX is 52. So if we take 52 and we cut it in half, I believe that it's going to be 26, but I just want to double check. 52 divided by 2 is 26. So it's 26. Then we have WY. WY is the entire thing. We know that this half is 23, which means that half is 23, which means the entire thing is 46, because 23 plus 23 is 46. Then we have angle TZY. TZY is going to be half of 72. So you take that 72, phone doesn't want to unlock. Okay, 72, and you divide it by, oops, not 3, 2, and it gives you 36. So 7, T, Z, Y is 36. Okay, and then we have X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. That's this entire angle here. Well, it's going to be supplementary to that 72. So 180 minus 72, that's going to give me 108. So that entire angle is 108. All right. Then, hold on, y'all. I think I might have made a mistake. Oops. I did make a mistake, you guys. Okay, look. Hold on one second. Okay, y'all, my bad. I actually am wrong. These these diagonals bisect each other. They do not bisect the angles. So I was incorrect to tell you that this is 21 and this is 71. That is not correct information, okay? They don't have to be the same on both sides. But what you do have is you do have alternate interior angles, okay? So like this is 21, which means opposite over here is 21. This one is 71, so this one is 71 because they are opposite, they are alternate interior angles. And then it gives you the whole angle, FED, is 134. So to get the other side, then you would just subtract that from 134. That would give you your other side. Then you have both parts. To get this over here, angle CFE, this whole angle F is going to be supplementary to 134. So you can subtract that from 180. I'll just do this one with you. Okay, I'll do 4 with you. Okay, so DEC. DEC is this small piece here. To get that, I have to do 134 minus 71. So that's 3. 13 minus 7 is 6. Okay, so that is 63 degrees. Now, CDE. CDE, that's that whole angle there. Well, that's going to be supplementary to this whole angle here, which is 134. So I'm going to do 180 minus 134. That's going to make that 6. That's going to be 46 degrees. Okay, 46 degrees. Then we're looking at ECD. Well, we already talked about that one being alternate interior, so that one's going to be 71. And DF, that's all the way here, DFE, so that one is going to be the other part of this angle. So the whole angle is 46, so I'm going to do 46 minus 21. That means it's going to be 25. Okay, so that's how you do that one. You're using your alternate interior angles. Not necessarily they have to be the same. What is going to be the same is the lengths of them. They're going to be divided in half, not the angles. That's my bad. I realized that once I got here that I'd made a mistake. So my mistake up here was with this one. This is not 36. It's not just half of 72. It is going to be dealing again with our alternate interior angle. So we're looking for T, where's T? In the middle, T, Z, Y. So I want this angle here, Well, it is the alternate interior angle to this angle. They are alternate interior angles. So if this is 35, this is 35. Okay? Hopefully that cleared that up and didn't make that too confusing for you. Okay, XWT. XWT. Okay, so we know that XYZ is 108. Okay, we know that this small piece right here is 59. So these are going to be the same because they are opposite angles. So that's going to be 108 minus 59. That's going to give me 9, 18, 9. That's going to be 49 degrees. This would be way easier if I had a calculator, but all I have is my cell phone. So then we have XYT. XYT is this small angle here. Again, I know that it is going to be alternate interior angles to this one. This and this are alternate interior angles, so that means it's going to be 59. So we're using those alternate interior angles. Okay, you are doing number 6. All right, now I am going to set these up. Some of them, you're going to set some of them up and you're going to solve them. So if we look at this first one, these are across from each other. They are opposite sides, which means they're congruent. So what I can do is set those two things equal to each other and solve. You are going to solve this out. Same thing with number 8. You are going to solve that out. Now look at number 9. Okay, number 9 says TV equals 74. That's that entire segment, TY. Did I say, I'm sorry, TV. Okay, TV is 74. Then we have WV, which is half of that, is 4x plus 1. So what I have to do to solve for x is I need to double this. So 2 of TV, 2 of WV will equal TV because this is half of the whole. So I'm going to have 2 times 4x plus 1 equals 74. You are solving that. Number 10, if I look at that one, it says NS, which is half, is 2x plus 7, and SQ is 5x minus 23. What are you supposed to do with those? Well, they are congruent, so you need to set them equal to each other, solve for x. But the question wants you to find NQ. So once you know what x is, you got to plug it back in to find NQ. You're doing that. For this one, find the measure of angle B. Well, before we can find the measure of angle B, we need to know what x is. So I know these two are opposite angles, which means they're congruent. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. Okay, and I'm going to solve this one quickly. So x equals 13. Now that's not what I need. I want B. But before I can find B, I've got to figure out what these angles equal so that I can find the supplementary angle. So I'm going to plug it into 4 times 13 plus 11. So that is going to be 52 plus 11. That is going to give me 63 degrees. So the measure of angle C equals 63. So if this is 63 and I'm looking for the measure of B, what I'm going to do is subtract that from 180. So I'm going to have 180 minus 63 because those two are supplementary together, and that's going to give me 117 degrees. And that's actually the answer. Okay? Over here, these two are not equal to each other. They are supplementary to each other. So you need to add P, angle P plus angle Q, and set them equal to 180 because they are supplementary. Do that. 13. Okay, 13 tells you that angle KLH is 134. So that whole thing is 134, and they want you to solve for x. Okay? Well, what I know is that if this is 134, this over here is going to be the supplementary angle to that. So I'm going to start with that. 180 minus 134. So that's going to give me, I'm just going to get my calculator. Make my life easier. 46. Okay, so that means this whole thing here is 46. Using this 25, I can know that this angle here is 25 because they are alternate interior angles. So 4x plus 9 plus 25 equals 46. 4x plus 9, which we don't know what that is, plus the 25 is going to equal the 46. Then you combine like terms. That's going to give you 34. Subtract 34. That gives me 12. Divide by 4. X equals 3. Okay? And that is it. That's what they wanted. They wanted you to get X. Make sure you got that on your notes. On the next one, it tells you that angle ABC right here is 115. They want you to find angle ADB. Well, we're actually going to use that ADB because it is going to be congruent to the alternate interior angle right there. So since it's going to be congruent to that, I wish I could get that to be clearer. Yeah. Okay. Since it's going to be congruent to that, I can add those two together and set it equal to 115 because that's the entire thing. So I'll take both parts. So 4x plus 6, that's this little section here, plus 6x plus, minus 11, that's the other little section. That's going to equal the 115. Okay? Solve for x. Once you get x, plug it in to get your missing angle. Okay? So you're finishing those notes. That's what you're doing today to get your points. You're not going to have homework other than completing your notes. So that is your homework. Now, the second part of this lesson talks about how we can prove that something is a parallelogram. Because it may not always say, like, this is a parallelogram. Okay? It may not always come out and say that. You have to prove it. So here's how we're going to do that. It says, prove both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. So if both pairs, so AB has to be congruent to DC. So those have to be congruent. And DA, or AD, either way, has to be congruent to CB. Okay, so these have to be congruent. If that's true, then it is a parallelogram. So how would we prove that the opposite sides are congruent? We would use the distance formula. So use that distance formula. If your distances are equal, then you know it is parallel. Method 2, okay? You are proving that the sides are parallel. Okay, we need to prove that both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So that means AB has to be parallel to DC, and AD has to be parallel to BC. And I probably should put the little segments on top of each of those. Same thing up here I should have, because we're dealing with the segments. And if they are parallel, then you're good. Well, how are you going to do this? Using the slope formula. Remember, that's y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay? The third method is to prove that one pair of opposite sides are congruent and parallel. So, if you can prove that AB is congruent to CD, okay? So here we were proving parallel, okay? But this is proven congruency. So if we can prove that this is congruent and that it's parallel. So not only are they congruent, they're also parallel. So basically you're doing nothing with these sides. Everything's with top and bottom. So how would you do that? Well, you would need the distance formula and the slope formula. So you would be doing both of those formulas. Which you think, oh, well, that's more work. Not really. You got to do the distance formula twice. You got to do the slope formula twice. So this you're just doing the distance formula once and the slope formula once. So you're doing two things in each one. Just depends on what method. So we get to practice both. So I'm going to do one, you're going to do one. Okay, so I'm going to start with number 2. You're going to go back and do number 1. Now, we need to prove that the opposite sides are parallel. Okay, not parallel, I'm sorry, are equal distance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch this out. Well, that looks like a square, but, or a rectangle. It's supposed to be a parallelogram, so there should definitely be like a little slant to it. Remember, it should look more like this. Yeah, that's better. I mean, I guess technically that could still be a parallelogram, but it just looks more like a rectangle. Okay, so we've got P, Q, R, S. Okay, P, Q, R, S. And it doesn't matter how you did that, as long as you stay P, Q, R, S. You could have gone P, Q, R, S. It doesn't matter, okay? So now we're going to look at those sides. So I'm going to start with PS and compare it to QR. It doesn't really matter, but it needs to be the opposite sides. Okay? So PS, I'm using this point and this point. They give you the ordered pairs, and then you're using the distance formula. The distance formula is the square root. If you don't know the distance formula, let's write that over on the side. Remember, this is something that you need to memorize for your ACT. The distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Make sure you got that, that you know that. Press pause, write it down, whatever you need to do. Okay, so I need my x2, which I'm going to let this be my x2. So 2 minus negative 4 is plus 4 squared plus y2 negative 3 minus 2 squared. Okay, so this is 6 squared, which is 36. Okay, and this is negative 5 squared, which is 25. So 36 plus 25 is the square root of 61, right? Let me double check that. 36 plus 25 is 61. Yes, so that's the square root of 61. I'm not going to get the decimal. It's fine because this one has to be the same thing underneath that radical. So now I'm going to do QR. And I really would like a different color pen so that you can see the difference. Give me a second. Okay. So Q and R. Alright. So we know this one over here is the square root of 61. Now I'm going to do QR. So this is going to be my x2, 11 minus 6 squared plus, then my y2 is negative 2 minus 4 squared. Okay, 11 minus 6, what's that, 5? Yeah, 5 squared is 25. Okay. Then we've got negative 2 minus 4, so that gives me negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36, so that gives me 61. The square root of 61. So those are the same. So can we say that that's parallel? That's not enough information. Now we have to repeat this process. And now we need to compare tops and bottoms. So now I need to compare PQ to SR. So PQ, okay, let's look at these two together. PQ, I've got X2 would be 6 minus a negative 4 squared plus 4 minus 2 squared. Okay, so that's 6 and that's 10, that'd be 100. 10 squared is 100, and this is 4 minus 2, so 2 squared is 4, so that's the square root of 104. Okay, again, I'm leaving it just like that, no reason to go any further. Now I'm going to do SR, so I've got 2 minus 11 squared plus negative 3 minus a negative 2, which is plus 2 squared. So this one's definitely different. That's going to be negative 9. Negative 9 squared is 81. Okay, and then this one is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. So that's going to give me 82. So do these two match? No. So since those don't match, this is not a parallelogram. If it did match, then you have a parallelogram. That's what you're doing when you're doing the distance formula. So you have to do both the tops and bottom using the distance formula. You're going to do number 1. Okay? All right. I know this lesson has taken a little while. That's why I'm not giving you a separate homework assignment. But I also spent the first couple of minutes griping at you guys for cheating. Okay. Now, let's look at number 3. Let's do number 4. They are wanting you to prove that the slopes are going to be congruent. So again, I'm going to draw this out. We want our slopes to match up. Obviously, I struggle with drawing these. Okay, so there's my parallelogram, and I need to know that their slopes are going to be not congruent, but the same. They need to have the same slopes. So I'm going to start with EH, and I'm going to compare that to FG because I'm comparing slopes. Now, the slope formula tells me to subtract. So here's E, here is H. Y's are on top, so negative 2 minus 8. x's are on the bottom. Negative 4 minus 0. So that's going to be negative 10 over negative 4. That simplifies to give me 5 halves. So the slope of that one is 5 halves. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to do FG. So these two. So again, y's are on top. 0 minus 10 and 2 minus 6. So that's negative 10 over negative 4. So exactly the same. Perfect. So these are parallel. They have parallel slopes. Now I need to compare EF to HG. So EF, that's these first two. So that is going to be y's on top, 10 minus 8. X's on the bottom, 6 minus 0. That's 2 over 6. That reduces to 1/3. So now I need this one to be 1/3. If it is, they're parallel. Okay, so I've got my y's on top, negative 2 minus 0. On the bottom, negative 4 minus 2. So that's going to be negative 2 over negative 6. Two negatives gives me a positive. So what do you know? They are also going to be parallel, which means this is a yes. Okay, you're doing number 3. Let me see. Let's do number 6. Okay. Now, on number 6, I'm going to do number 5. On number 5, I am going to do only one set of sides. Okay. So, I'm going to choose to do these sides. The ones that I just made bold. So, J, K, L, M. So I'm going to do the slopes of JM and the distance of JM. And then I'm going to do the same thing for KL. So I'm going to start with the distance formula for JM. So J and M, I've got my X2 minus my X1. And then my Y2 minus my Y1. Okay, so I'm doing that. I'm making those pluses instead of having minus a negative. So then this is going to be 9, 8, 7, 6. 6 squared, which is 36. This is 7, 6, 5. 5 squared, which is 25. So together, that gives me 61 again. So that's going to be the square root of 61. Okay. Then I'm going to find the slope of JM. Okay, so JM's slope, I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to do y's on top, negative 7 minus negative 2, so plus 2, and then negative 3 minus negative 9, so plus 9. So 7, 6, 5, so that's going to be negative 5 over, this would be what? Positive 6. So my slope is 5, 6. Did I do that right? Yes. Okay, cool. All right, so that's everything for JM. I've got the distance of JM and I have the slope of JM. So now I need to do that for KL. So I'm going to start with the distance. Now, KL is going to be 1 minus negative 5. That's your x's. X2 minus x1. My y's is negative 4 minus 1. Okay, so that's going to be 6 squared. This is going to be negative 5 squared. So good, we've got the same thing. So their distance is 61. So far we're good with distance. That's the same. But now what we need to check is that their slopes are the same. So my slope for KL, I've got my y's on top, negative 4 minus 1, and my x's on the bottom, 1 minus negative 5 is plus 5. So that's going to be negative 5 over 6, which looky there, they match too. So the slopes match, the distances match. So is this a parallelogram? That's a yes. Yes, it is. You're doing number 6. Okay? Now, that's your lesson for today. So we learned all these things about parallelograms. First thing we learned up front is that opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary, and diagonals bisect each other. Now remember, don't make my mistake. Okay, the diagonals bisect each other, which means FG is going to be the same as GD. Okay, those are going to match because they bisect each other. That doesn't mean they bisect the angles, so don't make my mistake on that. And then last but not least, we learned about how to prove that something is a parallelogram. You can either use the distance formula, the slope formula, or a combination of both. So that's what you're working on. You're completing these pages of notes. Now, your sub also gave you this homework assignment, okay? This homework assignment is going to be Friday's assignment. This is what you are working on Friday. If you have any questions, you can email me. You can ask questions to get help on these, but that's what you're submitting on Friday. So don't submit this all together. Submit this on Friday. This homework goes on Friday. What you're submitting to me today is these 4 pages, and they need to all be complete, okay? So you only have a few minutes left of class. Whatever you haven't gotten done, you can work on the last few minutes of class, and then if you need to finish at home, finish it at home and get that submitted. So the lesson is submitted to me today. Friday, you are going to submit the homework to me. Don't submit them in the wrong places, okay? On Monday, when I return, you have a quiz. Some of you also owe me an apology because it's never okay to cheat. Never okay to cheat. Even if a teacher's not there, it's still not okay to cheat. So, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I will see you in class on Monday. You can bring your bonus cans on Monday. Make sure you get your bonus. I will see you guys later. Bye.